just start out with my story. I tried to keep it short, so hopefully it will be. So I started in 2015 at 311 pounds. I was very depressed. I hated life. I was very suicidal. I was very, very negative. I had no confidence, absolutely no self-esteem. So, I see this picture of myself, and I remember I was like, don't take my picture. That was the only picture of that day that they got of me, and then I was just, it kept being, I kept having those turning points where I was just like, I want to be in front of that camera. I want to feel beautiful, and so I really just kept going with that, and I got stronger and just jumped into Beachbody. So a little bit about me to what got me to go with Beachbody. I had a very rough childhood. I was brutally raped for 10 years, and then I was tortured by a family member for about 10 years as well. I grew up that way. I was very sheltered. I wasn't allowed to have TV. I wasn't allowed outside of my world of home and school. A lot of from the abuse. My mom left me when I was at a young age, and so my grandmother sheltered me, which made the abuse worse. I finally escaped the hatches at 20. I moved down here to Statesboro and decided to go to school. I just packed my stuff up one weekend. I loaded my vehicle and I left, and I didn't tell anybody where I was going. So I come down here and I went to school, and I got my vet tech degree, and I got married and got pregnant and graduated, and then we miscarried with our first. And then 6 weeks later I found out I had cervical cancer, so then I went right into surgery. So it seemed like every time that I seen that light of happiness, something would come and take it away. So I was really at a low point by the time 2014 came around. I had tried to kill myself a whole bunch. I was tired of living. I had been dead on the inside for a very long time. So sorry. I was in the closet, and I had the gun in my hand one day, and I was ready to pull that trigger, and my husband come home, and I looked at him, and I felt so bad. I felt guilty because I wanted to leave because I was so miserable. So after that, I was in the hospital for several weeks, and something just happened. They kept putting meds and pumping me full of meds, trying to get me back to normal. I had been on drugs my entire life with antidepressants or some sort of neurological stimulants, and I had a manic episode and I went missing. I don't really remember what happened. I remember blisters on my feet so bad that I couldn't walk for weeks. It burnt. It was horrible, and even now I don't really remember much. I remember things that I did that day. I remember going into the woods and hiding. I remember, seeing different animals and wondering how long I would be there, and it's just somehow somebody seen me walking on the road and decided, do I know you? And I didn't know them, and they knew who my father was, my father-in-law, and they took me home and called my husband, and I went back to the hospital, and so there was a very big tragedy when I hit that year, and that was June, and a couple months later I become pregnant. That was actually my fourth pregnancy, and we were gonna have twins, and at 14 weeks we miscarried. And I was back to that devastated, negative way. I was just ready to die all over again. And just something on the inside was different at the time. I missed the babies, but a part of me was glad that I didn't have to raise them as miserable as I was. And I decided that I was going to get pregnant again, and I wanted to be healthy. So when 2015 rolled around, I just decided that was going to be my year. I wanted to be happy, and I wanted life. So signed up with Beachbody, and you know, my coach was just like, you know, just try it. You know, if you don't like it, you get your money back. If you don't want to work out, then you've got something that you can give to somebody. So I really looked at it as like it was a no-win situation. I could go in, and if I didn't like it, I was okay, and if I liked it, I won. So I started with T25, and you know, I stuck to that schedule. I checked off every day when I worked out. I drank that shake religiously. I would get up, and I hated breakfast. I would literally, the first few weeks, I remember having to chug it because it was just such a mental thing for me to get through the fact of eating for breakfast. And when you're overweight for so many years, food becomes a very negative thing. And it was just, I know it was in my head, but it took me forever to get over it. And then cafe latte come out. And so when I first started, I kept telling myself, you know, that I've always failed before. I have done this so many times. You know, what's going to be different? And just every day I showed up, I checked off that calendar. I never let those excuses get me down. At 3 weeks in, I got strep throat, and I worked out every single day. I could work out for 10 minutes, but I didn't stop because I knew if I did not make it the first 30 days, I wouldn't keep going. I knew that about me because I had done it so much before. So I was like, I'm not going to quit whether I want to or not because it's not going to benefit me anymore. So 3 months into Beachbody, I'd still not lost any weight. I had done nothing but actually gained weight, and I was just so caught up in that scale at the beginning that I never could see past that. But when I did the first round of T25, I had still not lost any weight, but I had lost inches. But I started feeling on the inside like I had life. I smiled. I didn't have to go walk into the woods to hide from people to have a walk with my dogs. So I just kept going. I kept working out. I kept drinking my shake. I just kept going and never ever stopped. You know, I implemented the new habits. I drank my shake, and then I invested in personal development. I had to surround myself with positive people because I was surrounded by negative people. I had never known somebody to smile without being forced to smile until I became into the community of Beachbody. And that was when I just opened myself up to life, to think I can be happy. I can smile and not be fake. And so as I implemented new habits, you know, I realized that I couldn't deprive myself of the things that I truly wanted because I would fail. And so I basically smothered all of my old habits with my good ones. You know, instead of eating out of habit, out of hours, I would make myself take a walk first. In the very beginning, I remember bribing myself with cookies to go for a walk. It was my reward, and then 3 months later, I didn't want the cookie anymore because I could see that it was a positive thing. You know, it was a flip of a switch, really. You know, it was just like one day I made the connection. Look how bad you feel with the food that you eat, all of the sugar, and you know, it was a drug for me. I'm very much a sugar addict. I can consume a whole bag of donuts and go for a next one. I can't have chocolate in my house because it doesn't exist. I literally will eat it just until it's gone. When I first started, I actually had to hide sugar because I would sit at home alone and eat it by the spoonful, a box of sugar, and it was just like drugs for me. Like I would literally feel high or drunk or something that most people get off of drugs. You know, as I started doing the new habits and I started to lose a little weight, I really felt that I wanted more at that point. I could feel life, I could feel happiness, and I wanted more of it. So then when I wanted to be skinny in the beginning, that left me. I no longer cared about being skinny. I wanted to be healthy and happy and smile, and I got all that. And now I know I'm strong, and skinny can just take it to the curb because I don't ever want that. You know, I wanted the image of skinny. I didn't want the inside of what somebody, you know, skinny to me was those little girls in high school who, you know, wore shorts too small and clothes too short, and they got all the attention, and that's what I wanted. But when I started losing weight, I seen that I just wanted to be me, and I wanted to be happy and confident. You know, I never thought that I could have it. I thought that I would always be destined for the misery and the obesity and just always being ugly. I always felt like that was just what I was stuck with. Those were the cards that I was dealt, and that was my hand. And through Beachbody, I have learned that that I can change those cards. If I'm not happy with what it is, I can change it, and I have that power. Life is life, and sometimes it just sucks. There's ups and there's downs, but somewhere in that silver lining, there's always a lesson. I would not be who I am without my struggles, without being raped and beaten and burned and tortured. I wouldn't be here to tell my story for that girl to hear that you can have it too, that that you can have the happiness and be strong, and you can have everything that you ever wanted. It's inside of you the entire time, and you just have to find it. For the first time in my life, I have loved me. I am confident. I am strong. I am a warrior because I have survived. So I want to tell you all to be bold and be wild and live life by your own design, because you can have it. You can have it all. It may be hard, but you can have it. And thank y'all for letting me share. It was my first one, hopefully never my last, but thank y'all.